All right, there's a young Roderick Strong. How old were you at this point?
This is 2005, so...
Is this 2000? No, it's 2004, wasn't it?
No, it's 2005.
Five? Okay.
Yeah.
January 2005.
I was 11 years ago, so...
22 years
I was
old.
20... Yeah, I was
Wow.
21, 22, because I turned 22 this year.
So to give a little background on this, I had taken over booking FIP in fall, I believe it was September of 2004. At the time, we started doing our DVD production for ROH down at Sal's place. Sal Hamway, who's now my business partner with WWN and Evolve and everything, and doing the DVD production over there. Sal had asked if, hey, you're coming down to Florida anyways, do you want to book FIP? And I was like, yeah, sure. It's extra gig, extra money, and I can do like different stuff that I can't really do in ROH. So one of those things was taking Roderick Strong and putting him against Samoa Joe. And at this time, Samoa Joe was a much bigger and more established indie name than yourself, although your reputation had been growing at this point pretty substantially. But this wasn't the kind of match that we were doing in ROH at the time. So we did this for 2 straight nights. This is the second match. And I do remember that Joe had a terrible flu the first night, and he toughed himself through the match. And then he showed up the next day, and I was like, how are you? And he's like, I drank vodka and orange juice, and it was the perfect combination. I'm totally better now. The vodka killed all the germs, and the orange juice got me healthy again. So here we are with a healthy Samoa Joe. So that's the backstory to this. And the idea with FIP, with you down there, you were the local guy, and the work rate guy that was getting over with the internet audience and stuff, and the DVD buying audience at the time. So this was, we're going to focus you as being like the ROH style wrestler, work rate guy in FIP at the time. So what's your memory? Any memories?
I mean, I just remember thinking like this was my big opportunity to actually be the face of a company, even though I wasn't the champion at the time, and I was working towards that. You were putting me in these high-profile matches, which one, I was learning a ton every time out there, but also just, you know, getting the opportunity to sink or succeed, and that's something like over time that I've always appreciated that you did for me. And I feel these type of situations are where I work my best, when there's pressure, and you know, I have to show that I can hang, or at least the potential to be one day as good as these guys. So yeah. I just remember being so freaking nervous. I was like, oh my God, Joe twice. And, you know, obviously there wasn't huge crowds, but honestly, this night, the crowd was far more alive than the night before.
The FIP crowds are pretty hit or miss, and they were into it and everything. Now, Joe, was he ROH champion at this point? I believe so. And you were probably teaming with Jack Evans. We were probably concentrating in that direction. So this was like the chance to really break you out into singles matches and see what you could do there. So since we're just really getting started and everything, you know, we did the little intro. But when you first started working with me, what were like your first impressions? Any memories come to mind or anything?
For me, you were approachable, and I felt like you wanted me to succeed as much as I possibly could. I don't know exactly how far you wanted me to go, but I know you wanted me to be successful in the company. And that's one of the things that, you know, you don't always get, and especially like where I came from growing up, like I didn't have a lot of trust in people. Oh, yeah. Oh, man.
Joe's really lighting you up there.
Oh, yeah. I think Joe realized this was a test for me too, and you know, people talk about it a lot. Obviously, we wrestled the night before, and I get excited, you know. And Joe just wanted to remind me that he's the guy in charge there.
Yeah, this was the strip club.
This is the strip club.
Go ahead.
This is a good. No, I'm just saying this was I liked actually wrestling here. The crowd wasn't huge, but the fans were very responsive, and they were the ones that wanted to be there, you know. There was only like 20 of them. But
yeah, they definitely wanted to be there. So this room and this shows you, you know, how far you've come in the business and everything, and Samoa Joe as well, is we were literally in the back room of a strip club. And it wasn't even an easy room to find. It was like you'd have to like go behind the strip club in order to get there. So, but I believe Sal didn't really pay any rent on this place, so that would explain it.
It was just like a door.
Yeah.
Like you go around the strip club and then you're like, oh, where does this door lead? Oh, there's like a little, it's an after hours club. That's what that was.
Yeah.
It was an after hours
That's right.
club.
You'd always have that moment, like, going there where you'd be like, is this where somebody kills me? Because if I was going to murder somebody, I'd try to get them to go into a door in the back of the strip club
right?
like this. Yeah, and then we had the mobile studio, and the whole gimmick there, which is funny because we still use that same, we just got one of those for Evolve, so we still use that same setup. But the whole concept was we just needed a space that we could put a ring, and we'd set up that little studio thing that you see in the back in the hard camera shot there. There it is. And we could have a wrestling show. It didn't matter what the venue was. Back of a strip club, some abandoned nightclub somewhere, which we've also run with FIP back in the day back then. It definitely didn't matter. But FIP was a lot of fun because it was also kind of a chance to experiment with things, because Ring of Honor, you had like this pressure, you know, like everything had to be like perfect, you know. And especially I felt that as the booker there. Because it was also pretty much still growing, you know, it was still an upcoming promotion even though a couple of years in. But everything had to be absolutely perfect here. And FIP was kind of the place where you could experiment with things, maybe play to the crowd differently, which we'll see with you and Brian Danielson. And basically do the stuff that you couldn't do up north, you know. So to me, it was always a fun weekend, and also try out a lot of talent and everything. Like a lot of stuff happened in FIP before it happened in ROH.
Yeah, you had a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Because I'd get to the buildings and be like, hey, Roddy, 20, 30 minutes, ROH style. And I'm like, Gabe, there's like 15 people here. That's what I'm thinking in my head, but then I'm like, okay, no problem.
Yeah, I never heard you complain once.
But I just in my head I was like, okay, because that is actually the thing that I really felt helped my career and helped me progress so much, is having these weekends and being able to work these guys that were, you know, teaching me so much, and for me to try new things and prepare stuff for, you know, Ring of Honor, because the guys felt the same way. Everything had to be perfect. Your matches have to be perfect. Your new moves, everything. You kind of try out there, and then you kind of see what works and what doesn't work.
Yeah, and like just giving you 20 to 30 minutes against somebody in ROH wouldn't be possible at the time with everything that we had going on. I mean, I'm sure it happened on certain shows, but you were the workhorse down in FIP. You were the guy to have these matches, and when the name guys would come through, because we'd fly in like 1 or 2 name guys a month. It was pretty much, you know, we'd get a carload from here and a carload from there, and those guys, and then we'd have the Florida town. They'd fill out the cards, and then we'd fly in like a Samoa Joe and Punk came down for all the shows back then.
He was doing commentary.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So yeah, Punk was doing the ROH commentary, so he'd come down. And Brian, we made a commitment to at one point. But, you know, we'd bring in these guest stars, and you'd always work the guest stars because there was your home promotion. Now it's a thing for you to do there. So Joe's really bringing it here, by the way, too. Yeah.
Yeah. I actually remember this. Just like, oh my God, he's going to kill me.
Did he?
Not too bad.
Okay.
Not too bad, but I just remember that because, like I was saying, there's that guy Richard that I talked to, and he always brings like the 2 matches up, but this match right here about how it made him really believe in me is like, this guy's gonna be like a big star.
Yeah.
You know, he can hang with Samoa Joe, and you know, Joe didn't take it easy on me because he knew I wasn't gonna take it easy on him.
Yeah, I'm actually enjoying watching this match right now.
Yeah. Oh, I want to just take myself to the side after it's done and critique myself. I can't.
Now, how would you say that you have grown as a wrestler from this match to where you are today? What would you say are the main differences? Or if you could go back and talk to young Roderick Strong here, what would you tell him?
Timing, getting more involved. Like I look worried. Like I can see the wheels turning in my head, you know, and I'm not as emotionally involved in it as I should be. I'm battling this huge Samoan man, and you know, and no wasted motion. There's a lot of wasted motion. I'm smothering a little bit, you know, and I would just be a little bit more physical. I'd make everything count a little bit more. Like Joe, you see how he... Woo!
Yeah, that's a nice exchange right there. Yeah, I would say like the biggest improvement in you over the years is definitely when it comes to personality and telling the story in your face. And I think that was one thing that was holding you back right then from going to the next level. The one thing I do remember when going back, we talked about the Sanjay Dutt match, was that would seem to be the match that really put you over the top in like the Northeast area.
Yeah.
And Sanjay's incredibly talented too. So, but then it then I was surprised Joe just did a low blow. I lost my train of thought from the backwards kick.
I wonder if he was a heel here.
Yeah.
That I can't remember. I thought we were just going straight up. But.
Yeah, and one thing FIP was that we did try to do more stronger heel babyface stuff than in ROH and stuff. But yeah, well, I'm trying to remember now when that turning point match for you as like a singles wrestler really came. Oof. It's pretty amazing though that you look at it and how much. Well, you were 22, so you're still young, and how much better you've gotten since then. But also, Joe has just remained awesome, like all these years later.
Yeah, he's a guy I really look up to. It's just especially as I started getting the bigger matches and started getting over more, was just telling me teaching me how to find myself. I think certain aspects of it didn't really register to me until a little bit later on in my career, but I'm like, that's what he was saying. Just these little light bulbs start turning on, and I think especially in the last few years, it's really made my improvement seem a lot more drastic than it really is. It just was it was super gradual, but it took a long time.
Yeah.
I was so young, and emphasis for me was just being great technically. I never even worried about the other things. The guys I liked and I watched wrestle weren't these larger-than-life personalities, other than when I was a kid. So to me, I was like, I want to be remembered as technically as good as, Eddie Guerrero, Chris Benoit, Chris Jericho, Owen Hart, Brett.
Yeah.
Even though Owen Hart had a lot of personality.
I remember back in the early days here, the main attribute you had was, you weren't the biggest guy, although you weren't small, but your strength, and that was a freakish quality that you had back then, and one of the things that really started gaining people's attention. And also, you worked phenomenally well with high flyers, which I guess has to do with the strength of being a base there and everything. But that was really your calling card there. But here you are going toe to toe with Joe.
Oh,
okay, you pulled off the upset. Wow.
I really don't even remember
I thought
that.
you went 0-2 that weekend.
I know.
All right.
The only time I've beaten Joe.
Yeah, there we go.
Oh my God.
Now it's wow. Joe's just as shocked as we are. There you go. Well, that's a hell of a match. Hell of a start.
I need to find this and save it so I can show my kids. Be like, you know what? That big smelling guy, I beat him once.